batted so excellently on the second day, the day before yesterday. It's Thursday, and this Asante Mel, and this one sent down through the gap between gully and third slip for 4 runs. So the first runs of the morning coming to Gover, moves on to 83, and the total moving on to 190 for 5. Taylor still on 8 as Ajit Silva bowls to him again. Play defensively forward. Once again, Ajit Silva to Taylor. There's an appeal. And members of the foreign press.
Ajit would exploit this spot.
Here's his first ball then. And that'll be 4. Driven straight down the ground. Over pitch delivery. Taylor using his feet very nicely. Hitting it straight back past the offside of the wicket. And that's the 200. And Taylor's first runs this morning. Very convincing stroke indeed. David Gower in strike. One slip, fairly deep. Lalit Kalupirunga outside the off stump. You can see Gower using his pads to advantage there. Ball possibly missing leg stump by quite a bit. Angled into the left-handed batsman on the line in the middle stump there. De Silva. He's out, he's got it, caught behind. Gunatilaka really nearly missed that. You could see that he was juggling with the ball, and that is the break Sri Lanka wanted. They really wanted a break, and the man they wanted was Gower, and there he is, caught behind on the back foot, edging a ball from De Silva. Probably the googly or the one going straight through. We'll just hope that we can have a replay on that so that you can have another look at it. So 200 for 6 and the partnership of 49, and possibly I put the evil eye on it by talking about the forthcoming 50. Mevan?
Yes, that's certainly the wicket Sri Lanka was after. David Gower, who made 85 runs.
Just a moment, Mevan. Here's this replay. Let's take a look at it. Now the ball coming into the batsman, a leg spinner.
And the new batsman is
John Embry. Well, now the field quite aggressive. 4 men round the bat. De Silva bows to Taylor. Outside the leg stump. Off the pad to Varnapura at backward short leg. De Silva quite enthusiastic with the appeal, but very optimistic indeed. Slip, silly point and 2 short legs round the bat. That's short, far too short, and Taylor punishes it. It'll be 4. Dias can't get it.
As you see, the very informative scoreboard at the P. Saravanamutu Stadium. 205 for 6. And De Silva's first delivery is on the front foot, takes it on the pad, and the ball bouncing out to Kalupirunga at slip. Ranasinghe at silly point. Roy Dias at cover and Asante Mel at wide-ish mid-off, completing the offside field as the next delivery from De Silva brings Taylor forward again, taking it on the pad. Anu Ranasinghe moves round to silly mid-off. And here he is, bowling to Taylor, who plays this one backward of square, down to Siddharth Vetumani on the backward square leg boundary, and they get a single.
Ajit Silva bowls to Embry, and he watches it carefully, gets it onto the bat, down the line the wicket, fielded by Anu Ranasinghe. 207 for 6. Embry is still to open his account. Ajit Silva from the press box end. This one well flighted, the attempts to sweep. There is an appeal for the W, And umpire Felsen has ruled him out. Embry showing a certain amount of surprise. And the 7th England wicket has fallen now with score at 207. Embry out without scoring. LBW to Ajit De Silva, whose 2nd wicket it is. And Mevan, your comments.
Yes, Embry showed surprise because he had stretched fully and swept it to square leg and missed the line of flight. However, it was a straight delivery by Ajit De Silva, bowling round the wicket, and the umpire Felsinger thought that the ball would get on the... And here's the replay. There's the stroke. Embry playing a stroke right across the line of flight.
New batsman coming in at the fall of the 7th wicket, Paul Allott. That was the end of Ajit De Silva's over, and his figures 2 for 45 off 28 overs. It's going to be DS De Silva now to bowl to Bob Taylor, who swings this round back with a square leg and get 4 runs for it. 7 runs short of the Sri Lankan total of 218.
It is DS De Silva bowling from the scoreboard end. He brings Allott on the front foot. He gets it through the infield, but not far down enough to give him time for a single. Madugala very quick to retrieve the ball. And there's no run. 24 valuable runs to Taylor, 3 to Allott. As DS De Silva bowls, Allott comes forward defensively, pushing on the offside. Ranasinghe runs across from his silly point position and fields. The next delivery, flighted, is on the front foot. It must have been the googly going off the inside edge to Madugala, standing square to the crease, very close in on the onside of the wicket. England adding 30 runs in the hour, 216 for 7, having also lost 2 wickets. DS De Silva's next ball, short, and he plays it up in the air, and he's caught him at the 2nd attempt. Allott going for the cut, not quite getting over the ball, getting a top edge, and there was Lalit Kalaperama diving for the catch, not holding on to it, putting it up, and he gripped it at the 2nd attempt as we watch the action replay here. There it is, the top edge, an outstretched right hand. There you see it going up, rebounding, and Kalaperama picking himself up very quickly indeed, holds it again one-handed at the 2nd attempt. A good catch, a valuable wicket, and England are now 8 for 216. And there's the man who's done all the damage in England's, Sri Lanka's first innings, Derek Underwood. And I'm sure the Sri Lankan bowlers will be waiting for an opportunity to get their own back on him. He's taking guard. Here's the first ball from DS De Silva to him, and there's an appeal for a catch, and he's gone. Derek Underwood is gone, and England are 9 for 216. So Sri Lanka still maintaining a lead of 2 runs. And here's the action replay. There he's coming on the front foot, the outside edge of the bat, and into gully. And now it's Bob Billis coming in to see whether he can give England a first innings lead. But the striker is going to be Bob Taylor, because that was the end of DS De Silva's over. As here's Ajit De Silva bowling to Taylor. He beats him outside the off stump. An appeal more as a gesture than with any conviction. Umpire Felsinger not interested. 216 for 9. And here's Ajit De Silva bowls the next ball, and this is slightly over pitched. Taylor drives and he gets it past cover. They get 2, they're turning for the 3rd as Mendes gets to it now, and they'll get their 3rd run. Mendes' throw Not a good one coming down to the bowling end, and that takes England in front of Sri Lanka's first innings score by 1 run, 219 for 9. Here's D.S. Silva on his hat-trick. Bowls, and this is down the leg side. Taylor gets inside the line of it and allows it to go through. The scales evenly balanced now in this match as D.S. Silva's next delivery. Taylor goes for the straight drive and times it well. As it hits the railings at the far end, it's 4 more to him. D.S. Silva bowls, and on the back foot, he punches it on the offside. They get a sharp single. There may be a run out here. And he's not, yes! He's run out. Willis, a little late. And that marks the end of England's innings, giving them a lead of 5 runs. And the Sri Lankan players and bowlers must be congratulated on their performance this morning. In just 70 minutes, they have restricted England's scoring to 37 runs and taken 5 wickets. And here's the action replay on that run out. You see Dias will now come into the picture as he picks up the ball. There we see that very athletic fielder loosening up for the throw. It's coming hard in. Right into the wicketkeeper's gloves, and Mahesh Gunathilaka whipping the bails off with Willis long way from the crease.
And the England team coming out to the field with a lead of just 5 runs in the first innings and 40 minutes of play left for lunch. England losing their last 5 wickets this morning for the addition of just 37 runs as Willis comes in to bowl the first ball of the second innings, bowling from the scoreboard end, bowls to Warnapura. This one a lifting delivery, and it's Ian Botham opening the attack from the press box end, and Siddharth Dattamoni turns the first ball down to long leg, where it's fielded by Willis. The batsman get off, that's Dattamoni getting off the mark on 1 run, and that's 1 run to the Sri Lankan total.
That was a good ball. Dattamoni seemed to be in 2 minds about how to play that, possibly expecting more lift than the ball achieved. And we seem to be having a problem with the ball after just 3 overs. And Botham, very straight run up, easy run in. Cook picks up. Warnapura certainly in this innings looking far more confident, getting right behind the line of the ball, not flashing outside the off stump as he has done in the first innings of this game and in the one-day international, where he looked to be completely out of touch, looking very much more himself at the moment. And just as I said it, that one short and wide outside the off stump. And just as I said it, Warnapura not even bothering to move his feet, getting nowhere near the line of the ball, has a bang at it. Here's Botham. Slow ball. And this time he comes on the front foot and drives. That'll be 4. Botham again. This time on the offside again, threw mid off. Gava having a long chase, he should catch it. They should make 3, and they do comfortably. Here's his return to Bob Taylor. Willis comes into bowl. Warnapura, seeing that short lifting delivery, just sways back, allows it to go through to Taylor in no difficulty whatsoever. Bob Willis steaming in. And that goes down towards third man. That'll be 4. An awkward bounce there for Embry. Good delivery from Willis, short and lifting. As Willis delivers, a flurry of dust going up from that spot. Watch now. There's the dust.
Here's the first delivery from Underwood. There's Underwood's next delivery. The ball's going up in the air. Off the pad, no danger of any chance there. And that's Willis running towards us. He bowls to Vanapura. He's behind that one and gets it down through the slips. There's Embury after it. No ball has already been called, but they get two. As Underwood bowls to Vetamuni. And Vetamuni sweeps. And that's four. A nice stroke. Very effective indeed. And takes Vetamuni up to 5. Vanapura. Seems to be having the same problem that Keith Fletcher did around this time on the second day. Vetamuni is not quite ready. Umpire Francis holding out his hand. And now he is. Settles over his bat and waits for Underwood. And he plays this one off an inside edge behind square. They get a comfortable single. And as Embury retrieves the ball, the Sri Lankan score goes up to 20 without loss.
Lunchtime at the P. Sarvanamuthu Stadium. The scoreboard reading England 223 in reply to the Sri Lanka first innings total of 218, giving them a 5-run lead. But Sri Lanka have already wiped out that deficit of 5 runs with 20 for the loss of no wickets at the luncheon break. And as good a time as any to introduce our personality in the guest spot in tonight's Bristol Sports Newsreel. No less a personality than the former national captain Michael Tissera, who has been one of our most successful captains. Mike, the morning, without any measure of doubt, belonged to the Sri Lankan spinners.
That's right, laddie. I think D.S. De Silva in particular has bowled very well indeed. He's bowled on the sticks. He's made the batsmen play regularly. And as you can see, he's been rewarded with 3 wickets. I didn't think Ajit De Silva bowled all that well. He's tended to go too much down the leg side. He couldn't get his line and length sorted out all morning. And I think Sri Lanka were lucky that he proved as economical as he did, because I'm sure if there were some better batsmen around, perhaps Gower, he would have been pretty expensive in those few overs.
Well, Gower's dismissal was a clear illustration of the struggle the England batsmen had against the Sri Lanka spin attack, Michael.
That's right. They were obviously going to get Gower this morning. That must have been their idea, and they were very lucky indeed that they got him early. It was a good ball from D.S. De Silva, probably hurried off the pitch and took Gower's outside edge, and Gunatilaka fumbled at the start, but anyway held on to the catch, and that was a great breakthrough for Sri Lanka.
Mike, the Sri Lanka spinners were expected to present all the difficulties to England on this tour, but I would say that it was only in this morning session today that the Sri Lanka spinners have really come off and bowled very well.
That's right, laddie. As I said yesterday over the radio, the irony of it was that Sri Lanka has been depending so much on her spinners, but it's the pace bowlers who've got all the wickets. Ravi Ratnayaka bowled well in Kandy. He got 5 wickets there. Dimel bowled very well indeed in the 2 one-day games. In fact, I think he ended up as the best bowler on both occasions. And then we saw the spell from him yesterday when I thought he bowled good direction, good line, and he really deserved the success he had.
Well, Mike, how do you feel about the way the Sri Lankan openers have fared up to now? They've been at the crease for something like 40 minutes. Have you been happy with the way they've been coping with the England attack?
Yes, they've batted far better today than they did on the first day. Of course, the England pace bowlers are not getting the lift and the movement that they got on the first morning when the wicket was slightly damp. They've weathered the storm all right, and it's been a difficult 50 minutes, but they've come through it, and they've put Sri Lanka on a fairly good base for for a score, for a fairly big score, which they must be hoping to set England anything over 200 runs on the last day, and with the wicket turning, that might be a bit of a job to get.
Well, just talking about a turning wicket, I should imagine that Derek Underwood is certainly going to be the bogeyman for Sri Lanka, if the morning session was any indication.
That's right, laddie. He's bowling over the wicket from the press box end. At the other end, there are some footmarks just outside the leg stump on a fairly good length, and Underwood is obviously going to try and make use of those. He did in the first innings. As you know, he's a very accurate bowler indeed. He doesn't normally turn the ball very much, but when he does get some assistance from the wicket, he becomes a very difficult proposition, and of course he bowls a little quicker than most left armers, so it's difficult to use your feet to him. The Sri Lanka batsmen will have to use all their powers of concentration and technique to keep him away this afternoon.
Well, Mike, the Sri Lanka team has certainly overcome their first hurdle of preventing Keith Fletcher's side from getting the 100 runs or so lead that he was anticipating. How do you think we should go from now? What do you think should be the approach by the Sri Lankan batsmen?
Well, there's no doubt that the Sri Lankan batsmen will have to lay a foundation of a good score to give their spinners the opportunity to attack on the last day, to bowl at the stumps and try and get England out. A good start is very essential. They've got to concentrate. They've got the ability to do so, but on and off, not being used to playing 5-day cricket, they tend to lose concentration, play a rash stroke, but they'll have to put all that away and really concentrate on the job this afternoon, because I'm sure Underwood and Embury are going to give them a lot of problems from now till the close of play.
Mike, could you for a moment put yourself in the boots of Bandula Varnapura? What sort of result would you be looking for? A draw or a win? Taking into consideration the fact that no other team other than Australia have won on a test debut.
I don't think there's any question of a draw in this game, laddie. As it's set up at the moment, one side's just got to win. And if I was Varnapura, well, I'll be expecting to score 250, anything over 250, and set England 225, 230 to get, and hope that the spinners on the 4th and 5th day can turn the ball sufficiently to get them out. As you know, the England batsmen, with the exception of possibly Gower, Gooch and Botham, are not in the same class as the batsmen we've known before, the Mays, the Cowdreys, the Graveneys and the Dexters, and I think Sri Lanka has got a very good chance in this match the way it's poised at the moment.
And finally, Mike, a brief look back on the tour, particularly those two one-day games which ended so beautifully. Two fantastic games from the point of view of the spectators, and certainly a good thing for Sri Lanka, that win against England in the second one-day international.
Yes, laddie, we've been good at one-day cricket for a few years now. I think we've proved that we've beaten India in the World Cup. We've beaten the Australians when they were here. We've beaten the West Indies in a one-day game at the Mauritius Stadium some time ago. And with England's performance in India against the Indians in the one-day series, it didn't surprise me when we beat them in one of the games. And the other game was a very close one indeed. In fact, from a spectator's point of view, I don't think they could have asked for any better. What gives me great encouragement now is to see our boys play better in the longer game, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare in the next 2 days. If they can come through this, it'll be a tremendous performance against a professional team who've played together for a long time, who play far more cricket than they do, and it'll certainly be a great fillip to the Sri Lanka cricketers.
What's it that's impressed you most about the Sri Lankan performance up to now, Mike, on this tour taken as a whole?
I think it's the refreshing approach of their batsmen. They are not afraid to play their shots. Arjuna Ranatunga has proved a really good player. He's a gifted player. He was with the schoolboy side in England last year. He scored a lot of runs on that tour, and one particular innings against Sussex second 11 when he got 143. It was a really good knock, and I had every hope that he would soon be in the Sri Lanka side. I'm very glad to say that he hasn't disappointed me. He's really a player for the future. Vetamuni is batting well. He's very correct. He's a good player. He's come on quite a lot. And so has Madugala. I've been very impressed with the way Madugala batted in the first innings. He's correct. He chooses the right ball to hit. And Sri Lanka certainly have been very fortunate indeed at the moment to have three players, Ranatunga, Vetamuni and Madugala, whose average age must be around 22 years. I think that's a lovely base to work with at the moment.
Well, it's good to be back at the P. Sarah Stadium. You haven't missed very much. Bob Willis is still bowling the first over after lunch, although we've had 6 minutes of so-called playing time. 4 of those minutes went to change the ball. And we haven't seen a run scored since lunch, as you can see from the... He wants Underwood to try and exploit that rough patch created by Bob Willis and Botham and then DeMel. Very much in the danger area of play. Right in line with, or just outside the leg stump. Here's his first ball after lunch. Warnapura forward, taking it on the pad.
Underwood once again from the press box end. Goes to Warnapura, who's on 13. This one driven past Cook. Down to Emery at mid-wicket, and they go for a very cheeky single. And there's Willis running in now to bowl to Warnapura. Digs this one in, gets Warnapura standing up straight, tries to get on top of it, and here is Willis. And this one, he steers it in there, but Gower grasps it but doesn't get hold of it, as Emery chasing it, picks it up just inside the boundary, and they've gone 3 runs, and it's going to be Willis once again. This time he bowls to Vetamuni. This one, and he's bowled him as Vetamuni went forward to it, the ball coming into the batsman, and the first Sri Lankan wicket has been taken by Willis. 30 for 1.
And let's watch the replay before I describe that. There's Willis coming in. Up to the umpire. There he goes. Ball beats Vetamuni, gets the off stump, and wicketkeeper Taylor takes a diving catch off the stumps.
Coming in at for the first wicket is Roy Dice, and he will face up to Willis. And Underwood will continue from the press box end. A lot of dust being raised at the far end as Underwood goes into bowl to one and he's beaten off the wicket, and there is a loud appeal for Underwood. Very accurate, dropping that ball on that immaculate length. And this one flighted, and that's a very ungainly shot by Warnapura. He attempted to swing him round the leg side, and the ball flew into the cover region. I don't think Warnapura knew very much about what happened there. But he gets 2 runs for his trouble.
Good afternoon, and it's Bob Willis bowling from the scoreboard end to the new batsman Roy Dice. And Dice swings him round down to long leg. He'll get 1 as Allott does the fielding. And Roy Dice gets off the mark. He's 1. Skipper Warnapura on 19, and Sri Lanka 34 for 1. Willis 1 for 11 from 7 overs, bowling the 15th over of Sri Lanka's innings. Turns round at the far end, runs towards us, bowling to an offside fielder, 4 slips gully, silly point and cover. And Warnapura turns that one down the leg side. We'll wait for the signal. Yes, it went from bat. So that takes the Sri Lankan skipper up to 20. And here's his next delivery. Dice is behind it, finds the gap very nicely, backward of square. There's 1, there'll be 2. As Allott runs round from the far long leg boundary and picks up. They're satisfied with 2. Allott's return to Bob Taylor is a good one. Next forward defensively, and they get a single to cover as Botham runs round. 43 for 1. comes in and bowls, and Vanapura plays that one very nicely off his pads. Gets only 1 run for it. Underwood has now given away 11 runs from his 6 overs and is yet to take a wicket. And Roy Dice on 9, skipper Vanapura on 21. The game wide open, and Sri Lanka consolidating their second innings, because they will be looking to a score of in the region of 225 to 250 runs at least to give their bowlers a reasonable chance of bowling out the England batsmen. And towards this end, they have already got ahead by 39. The score now is 44, having conceded a 5-run lead in the first innings, as Willis's next delivery hits Vanapura on the right shoulder. As it Here's Willis. And that's played magnificently down to third man for 4. David Garr diving to his left, couldn't get a hand to it. And those 4 runs take Sri Lanka up to 48 and Vanapura to 25.
It's Botham. Runs into Vanapura. Bowls this one. Gets some lift in that. It steers it down to third man. Allett coming in from there. Fields. 1 run to Vanapura. Takes him on to 26 in the total to 49 for 1. And it's Vanapura facing up to Underwood. Dice marking his guard. Looks around. Waits for Botham. 2 helmets being placed behind the wicket-keeper. Botham bowling to 2 steps in the gully. Third man as it comes in, bowls to Dice. Dice pulls him round. It's 24 runs. A short pitch delivery. Pitched outside the line of the leg stump. Dice moving into position quickly. Swings him round for 4 runs. So that's the 50. The 50 for Sri Lanka coming in 97 minutes in the 21st over. 53 for 1. Dice goes on to 13. Vanapura, the other batsman, on 26. Botham bowling from the scoreboard end. Bowls once again to Dice. And this one, he digs it in. The fast bowler's answer to a batsman who's hit him earlier. A bouncer. .53 for 1. Roy Dice playing some very pretty shots now. Disappointed the first innings with a duck. Now 13, faces up to Botham. And this one turned away off his pads very nicely down past square leg. It's going to be a long chase there for Cook, who picks up and returns. The batsman gets through for 2 runs. The total going up to 55. And Dice moving on to 15.
Sri Lanka 61 for 1. It's Underwood bowling to Vanapura. And there he is defensively forward on the offside of the wicket. And the man raising his hand is Chris Tavare. It's probably signalling, well, he's indicating something with the helmet that's behind Bob Taylor. And anyway, the next delivery from has been swept for 4 runs. A nice stroke from skipper Vanapura there. .65 for 1, and Vanapura goes up to 30.
Underwood to Dice. Bowls and this one again. Dice drives it on the rise. A very nice looking stroke there. Allett has a long chase. It's going for the second. It's going into the boundary now. Botham, shirt billowing in the breeze as he walks slowly back to his mark. Turns. And he bowls now to Dice. This one he digs in, and again Dice into position quickly. Pulls him around for 4 runs. That's a bouncer, and Dice was well in position, saw it early. So that's 75 for 1. And Dice now moving on to 29. A jubilant crowd waving the national flag. Certainly Dias giving them a lot to cheer up.
As Bob Taylor about to crouch down now as Underwood bowls again. And Warnapura hits him hard and high down towards long on. Willis, who had been on the boundary line, brought up for him. And Warnapura, seeing that, takes full advantage of a flighted delivery from Underwood, punishing him for 4.
Botham is bowling this last over to before tea to Sri Lanka batsman, and as I talk to you, there's another 4, a delightful 4 from Roy Dias, playing some absolutely marvelous shots here, and the Sri Lanka score is now 93 for 1, which means that we are 88 runs ahead, and Fletcher certainly must be wondering how he is going to break this partnership. Over to Skanda.
There you are. Mevan described to you a delightful stroke that Roy Dias just executed, and Sri Lanka are now up to 93 for 1. And here's Botham's second delivery. Bowls to Dias. Dias drives him again handsomely through the offside field, and that's 4 more. Overpitched outside his off stump, and Roy Dias executing one of his characteristic cover drives. 97 for 1. Dias now on 46. What a beautiful player Roy Dias is. Botham. One can perhaps anticipate a bouncer in this delivery. No, he's full. And he's driven him again through the covers for 4. And that brings up Sri Lanka's 100 and Roy Dias's 50. What a magnificent batting performance. 3 consecutive boundaries of Ian Botham, who himself cannot help but applaud. Sri Lanka 101 for 1, Roy Dias 50. 89 minutes. 8 boundaries, 3 in succession of Ian Botham. And here's Botham. That's a slower delivery, and Dias very respectfully forward. Place it back along the wicket. Botham does his own fielding. Three absolutely magnificent strokes, bringing him 4 apiece, and Dias establishing his class as Sri Lanka's most outstanding batsman. Waits for Botham. Played on the onside of the wicket. John Embury, the fielder. No run. And this will be the last ball of the post-lunch session. And Botham bowling it off a shortened run. And Dias is behind that one, playing it defensively. Botham gets a boot to the ball, and so that is tea. Sri Lanka resuming after lunch at 20 without loss, have lost 1 wicket in the 2-hour session between lunch and tea. The wicket of Siddharth Vettimuni, who was bowled by Bob Willis for 9, with a score at 30, since when these 2 batsmen have been together, adding 71 runs, and with Roy Dias not out 50, a magnificent half-century compiled in 89 minutes, and skipper Warnapura on 39.
This is the 3rd over after tea. Dias has played 1 beautiful cover drive for 4 off Underwood a couple of balls ago. His 4th consecutive 4. He went off to tea having hit 3 off Botham when he raced to his 50 in 94 minutes with 8 boundaries. The score is now 107 for 1. Dias is on 55 and Warnapura on 37.
Embury turning up a lot of dust as he delivers the ball from his feet. And that one is played defensively. Cook does the fielding. Embury bowls, and Warnapura again attempts to sweep, and he's walking away. Yes, he's been given out. Bandula Vanapura not waiting for the umpire's decision there, walking as soon as he made sure that the catch had been taken clean, and Sri Lanka have lost their second wicket at 113. Vanapura attempting to swing Embury down the leg side, getting an edge onto the edge to the ball and lobbing a catch to backward short leg, and there he is walking off the field after a very fine batting performance. And here we watch the action replay. There's Vanapura going for the swing down the leg side, ball hitting bat and being taken at backward short leg, and the Sri Lankan skipper probably gone off the glove, and the Sri Lankan skipper not waiting for the umpire's decision. And there you see the J.R. Jayawardena trophy made by Mr. P.N. Nandadasa.
It's awarded for the winner of this test match or for the winners of any future series between England and Sri Lanka, Skanda. If the test match is drawn, it will be awarded to both teams.
And as we return to the cricket, it'll be John Embury to bowl to the new batsman, Dilip Mendes. A 113 for 2. Here's Embury bowling to the new batsman. Mendes on the front foot, taking it on the pad. The 83-run stand between Vanapura and Dias being broken. And Dilip Mendes is new batsman, and here's Underwood's next delivery. It's played off his pads, square towards mid-wicket. John Embury is there, no run. A silly point cover, extra cover, a wide mid-off and a straight mid-off deep on the offside as Underwood bowls to Dias. And Dias drives through the offside field. It's being chased down to the boundary, and it's 4.
120 for 2, Sri Lanka, now 115 runs on. Having dismissed England for 223. And this ball from Embury. Turned round the corner, it beats Gooch's hand, they go for one, they'll turn for a second. I don't know whether they got attached to it. We'll have to wait for the umpire signal to think about a third, but Botham picks up and returns to the bowler's end. A lovely return, and here's Embury once again. And this one, Dias backcuts this very nicely. There's a long chase there for Allett. They've taken 2, it's going to the boundary now. 4 runs, so 69 now to 69 to Dias, 127 for 2, Sri Lanka. And it's Embury, everybody waiting for Allett to trot back to his position at point. And Embury bowls again to Dias. And Dias drives him this time, but not too cleanly, down to mid-wicket. There are 2 more runs in that as Glover fields, no, 1 run.
There's a beautiful shot by Dias. He didn't quite get hold of it. Coming on the front foot and driving again between the 2 cover points, the backward and the square one. Tavare again doing the fielding. 2 more to Dias. 136 on the board. He goes to 76. And John Embury, who has looked more dangerous in the second innings, bowling to Mendes. Mendes, who took quite a liking to Embury's bowling on the English tour when the Sri Lankan side played the Test and County Cricket Board's 11 at Nottingham. And that one he pulls away straight to Botham. It'll be just a single. Here's Embury again. And Dias turns him away through the short legs for an easy single. Botham again. 138. Dias to 77.
Underwood getting ready to bowl the first ball of his new over with Sri Lanka on 140 for 2. And he's gone, he's caught behind. Yes, he's been stumped. Roy Dice walks away. The completion of a truly magnificent inning for Sri Lanka. You can hear the applause. Out for 77, and Sri Lanka are now 140 for 3. The pavilion standing to a man there. And here's Madugala taking this first delivery from Derek Underwood. There he's on the front foot. Takes it on the pad. Here's Embury. And has Mendes playing defensively. John Embury certainly has bowled very well today. He's been a trifle unlucky. He had the wicket of Wannapura. He may have had the wicket of Dias. And on a couple of occasions, the ball has gone past Graham Gooch to his right or to his left. Quite close. And here's the next one. And Mendes again attempting to turn it around the corner, takes it on the pad. His 8 overs have cost him 15 runs and he's had taken 1 wicket. And he bowls the next delivery, short, and that's been back out down to the third man boundary. Allott is after it, but he won't catch it. No, it beats him into the line now, 4 runs. As Embury bowls his next delivery. And that's short, and Mendes swings him round. Botham is there as he feels it now. As Sendis is in his return, the batsman get 1. See a part of the crowd that has seen a very good day's cricket. And Mendes goes on the back foot and gets this one past cover. He's being chased down by Tavare. They've taken 1, they're coming back for 2. And they'll get a third. Sri Lanka on 149 for 3. Dilip Mendes on 15, Ranjan Madugala yet to score.
Roy Dice early on got brilliantly scored 77, and here's Embury once again to Mendes, who pushes the vacant cover region. They're getting 1, they'll get a second. And that's the Sri Lanka 150 on the board, 151 for 3. Coming up in 250 minutes. Mendes moving up to 17. 151 for 3, Sri Lanka, with about 6 to 7 minutes left for play. And here's Embury once again, bowling to Mendes. Again, bat and pad together, sends to Cook at short leg, no run. A good day's cricket coming to a close, as Embury bowls once again to Mendes. And this one, he tucks it just past the grasping hand, and the possible catch going a begging. Gover threw himself on the ground, 1 run, takes the score to 152 for 3. Sri Lanka being led by 5 runs in the first innings, with England folding up for 223, with Gover getting 79. And here's Underwood. Now this one turns very sharply, and as a matter of fact, it was amusing to watch Taylor just now running across from like a little rabbit from one end of the pitch to the other to get that last over in, and it's going to be bowled by Embury now, and he bowls to Madugala, who is still to open the count. A good ball beats Madugala as goes forward. Embury bowling extremely well, certainly having all the batsmen in all sorts of trouble, and he certainly gave us a remarkable display of good off-spin bowling, and he's got a very lovely action. That is stumps for the day, with Sri Lanka on 152 for 3. Dilip Mendes is not out on 18. Madugala